Well, good morning. Welcome to another little video. This one today is going to be about my thoughts. Anyone who's ever felt suicidal or upset or depressed or anxious or anything like that will probably realise and recognise that they're only actually really responding or reacting to their own thoughts about anything. And in the case of anxiety and depression and things like that, sometimes you'll convince yourself that I don't know why I'm depressed or I don't know why I'm anxious, but that's actually not true. If you sit quietly within yourself, you will know why you're feeling a certain way, because the effects, which is what becomes manifest when you find yourself in a certain state of your thinking, all come from your thinking. So if you look at then life from the spiritual perspective, there's some sandflies here, pardon me. Look at life from the spiritual perspective, and when I say spiritual, I'm talking about mind spiritus, which is translated from the Greek word psyche, which is to think and to remember, the mind, not some Casper the Ghost kind of spirit, you know, that people like to confuse things with. But when you look at life as spiritual, everything is just the mind, right? You wouldn't know what even this shell is, except for that your thoughts tell you what it is, because you've already given it a meaning and a definition based on something somebody's told you, your past associations with picking up a shell, dropping the shell, etc., which is how you would know whether it's going to break or not. The same as if, I think it's lesson 7 in the Course in Miracles, they use a cup. You wouldn't know if it would break or not, except for what your past learning has taught you. And in that then is a key to realizing and to seeing that if I use my past thinking to try and tell me where I am and what I am, it's going to be depressing, because it's not actually allowing me to experience the joy and the peace and the wonder of myself right here and now. I'm constantly focused on the past, or maybe worried about the future. And it takes a great amount of mind training to retrain the mind to come in from those past and future references to be here I am right now. So the idea then spiritually that I don't know why I'm here, what life is about, what I'm doing on the earth, my purpose or anything like that, is the primary cause, let's say. Well, actually not the primary cause, it's the secondary part of the primary cause, which is separation from source, separation from God, from wholeness, from oneness. And the idea then that I feel separate from everybody, I don't know where I fit in, I don't know what I'm here to do, all of that is going to arouse, even in the subconscious, a deep sense of anxiety. And separation anxiety is what you are always looking at, right? You get depressed because of separation, you get anxious because of separation, and it doesn't matter what the situation. You'll say to me things like, my girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, left me and I feel depressed. It's like, no, the situation that is played out, and see if you can follow me here, the situation that is played out in the world is the cause and effect relationship of your own thinking made manifest. Can you hear that? It's like what is out there in the world as another person, a situation, a relationship, is simply a mental projection onto a specific forum, my hopes, dreams, desires, expectations, and all of those things. And the mind does that very cunningly by carving up for itself little sections of what it sees as its reality to try and control and to try and hold for its own experience alone, at the expense of pushing everyone and everything else away, building walls and all of that sort of thing. So there's a great maturity that is required to accept The actual fact of the matter is that the world is whole, the world is one. As above in eternity we're all one, and so on earth everything is just one mind. I'm just looking at my mind projected outwards wherever I go and getting the results of my thinking in accordance with the cause and effect relationships I find myself in. And if I don't like the effects of my thinking, if it makes me unhappy, it's because I want to be unhappy. And you're going to say to me, well, that's kind of nutty. Who the hell wants to be unhappy? And it's like some people use unhappiness as a way of life, and suffering and all of that sort of thing. It gets them validation. They think that if I'm unhappy and sad, somebody's going to come along and paw me and pat me on the back. And it's like, nah, that's never going to happen in my world. There's always another way to see everything. And taking responsibility then for your thinking may not be pleasant when you realize that you've been doing it to yourself. Right? When I realize that what comes to me in my life is a direct reflection of the nature of the thinking that I'm putting out there, that's kind of embarrassing, and it's kind of humiliating, and all of those sorts of things. But even that is a good place. You know, you've got to draw a line in the sand here somewhere like that and go, all right, I see where I'm at. I'm doing this to myself. I'm an idiot. Let me change my mind about absolutely everything I think, and begin the process of rising up from my self-imposed prison of depression and anxiety, and begin again to rejoin in my awareness an appreciation of everything as being whole and perfect. Right? And in that, the potential, I guess, engage in the potential or the totality of potential as one thing, to escape the nature of time and space, which is the karma of the original sin, original error, original idea, or says in the Course in Miracles, the tiny mad idea, to be separate from what everything is. If everything is a singularity, if everything is a whole and everything is perfect, which we call God or oneness, creation, then it's impossible to be everything and then have something outside of everything. So the actual fabrication of the particulars of my own, let's say, experience in time and space are representing something to me that we can term it insanity, or a glitch in the mind, or something that makes no sense, or a paradox. I seem to be separate from God, but if God is everything, that must include me, so how can I possibly be separate? Can you hear that? There's an admission there that's required. You know, oh, I'm nuts. The world is a nut house where people who don't know, or things that don't know what they are, come to experience the playing out of the particulars of working out what they are through the idea of salvation, which is being presented to you through this video, through the opportunity to realize that by taking total responsibility for your own thinking, you can change the nature of the cause and effect relationships to bring yourself nothing but peace, and eventually reflect that in your own inner sanctum as well as out in your peripherals. And anyone who turns on the television these days will probably without hesitation admit to me that peace is what we need. But the idea of awakening or spiritual awakening now is sort of spreading across the world. And I'm not talking about woke, being woke. You know, it's like becoming aware of the nature of the Illuminati or the you know, the oppressive regime of political domination and etc., etc. That's not awakening. That's not waking up from the dream. That's just becoming aware of something within the dream that you've previously become aware of, not actually transcending the dream in its entirety, which is what salvation or enlightenment is offering you. The ability to have an experience of being beyond the world in its entirety, to look back at it and realize within the entire framework of time and space, none of it is real. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Let that bounce around in the coconut for a while. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. I am spirit, you are spirit. We are not the flesh. The flesh is just a vehicle whereby we go through and undergo our experience in the world so we can come to remember together what it is that we truly are, and return our minds to the co-creative expression of the eternal love of God that we were created as and are now. So I think I'll just leave it there. That's a whole bunch, but I guess, you know, in summing up, and I've never done a summing up before. In summing up, it's like, stop trying to fight, and this is something that was a big lesson for me. Stop trying to fight your errant thinking. Stop trying to react or control or have better thoughts, because none of the thoughts that you think reflect your true reality, reflect the nature of the thoughts you think with God, which are whole-minded thoughts, which include, like that, which include everyone and everything. And simply allow yourself to undergo the mechanism of true forgiveness or radical forgiveness in your own mind for the thinking that you think that appears to be separate from the whole, and have an experience of your oneness wherein you will never be confused about the nature of time and space again as being your reality, and you will have a what would you call it? You'll have the experience of your enlightenment as the true reality or truth in one hand, and then the other one, this mechanism of transformation that will be reflected in the world on the other hand, that gradually they come together. Gradually you bring the world to a state of perfect peace within your own mind, which aligns perfectly with the singular state of creation in the other, and boom shankar, it's all over. Okay, well, I love you, and take it easy. Just a short one today. And I was quite happy to notice this morning at 3 a.m. I made a little post about the calmness of my mind, and I come down to the beach today to witness the perfect calmness of the ocean down here, which hasn't been this way for quite a while. And I thought that was a nice parallel there in what I've just been saying about how what's within is reflected outside. So be a perfect day to get out there fishing. If I just had a boat. All right, I love you. Take it easy. And remember, be vigilant for the kingdom of heaven. Be vigilant for your own inner peace. Don't try to fight your thoughts. The ego loves an audience. As soon as you try to deal with your thinking, gotcha. Just stay in that peaceful place in the middle and train your mind to stay there, and all that loud yakety yak will eventually just fade away. It may take a miracle, it may take a lot of prayer, some meditation and things like that, but you're worth the effort. Bye.